time now to round up today's top stories in the world of science and tech with CTV's science and technology expert, Dan Riskin. Dan, good morning.
Is Dan there? There he is.
There he is.
There's Dan. Good to see you, Dan.
Good to see you.
We'll kick it off with this. The New England Journal of Medicine has described the case of a 64-year-old woman in Taiwan who had a jumping spider living in her ear. Heads up, viewers, this is kind of a gross image, apparently.
It is gross, but it's Halloween, and
Yeah.
it is the season. We got to make hay while the sun shines. So yeah, this is just a lot of people's worst nightmare. The woman's totally fine, but she had this noise that was bugging her and this sensation like there was something in her ear. So she went to the doctor, and they took a look in there, and they found a little jumping spider looking out at her. That's the picture, and then behind it there, that's her eardrum in the back, and then next to the eardrum is the exoskeleton of this spider. So it was growing, and it molted and left an exoskeleton. So they took it out of there. She's totally fine. Nobody was hurt in the making of this except for the jumping spider itself, which I don't think survived the ordeal. But it's a good Halloween story, and just enough to give you the, it's a good science story. I like it.
Oh, yeah, I like it too, but this is why I obsessively, clean my kids' ears and my ears with Q-tips.
I just feel it.
And it's just like, yeah.
I thought there were two in that picture as well.
I know. And it had like
Yeah.
multiple eyes.
Yes,
Like it was on high alert.
Yeah.
Eyes and
this
ears.
is not. It's not a parasite that normally infects people. This is not something you need to worry about. The fact that it was written up in a journal is just sort of flags how rare this is. But that spider was looking for a place to hide and picked the wrong spot.
Wow. Okay. Turning to something a little more serious, Dan. Are smartphones and social media making teenagers depressed/suicidal?
Yeah, Meta, which owns Instagram, is on trial in the States right now for purposely having features that addict kids, and we'll see where that falls out legally. But in terms of the science and the research, really striking numbers. If you look between 2010 and 2015, the sort of years where Instagram came to rise, teen depression up 33%. For girls, it was up 58%. 58% increase in depression. And if you look at suicide rates, tragically, for teens up 31% over those 5 years. 5 years, 31%. And if you look at just the girls, those suicide rates are up 65% in those 5 years. And so there's a lot of evidence that the rise of social media coincides with these terrible symptoms for the mental health of teens. But as to whether it's actually the Instagram or if it's other stuff that's going on, researchers point to some other data which show that teens that spend more time on social media tend to have more mental health problems, and teens who spend more time doing stuff like sports or going to church or other things like that that keep them off their devices tend to be less at risk for these mental health problems. So a lot of evidence that these social media programs are really tough on teens. And if you're a parent, you can wait for the legal decision to come out, or you can just say, you know what, I've got enough information as it is. I've got to have a conversation with my kids about the way that these companies make addictive apps and the effects they can have on teenagers.
And the way the algorithms push the negative in some cases as well. I mean, we all know, or I think we all know, but maybe we don't. Instagram, Facebook, those are highlight reels. They're not the reality of people in so many cases, right? So that's really sobering stuff. I appreciate you bringing that to us, Dan. In the meantime, this is something that might be able to help all of us here. Learning AI. Turns out it can improve your value to employers or your clients by an average of maybe 21 to even 40%. That's a pretty significant jump.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of yourself as a worker with a set of skills and you were constantly building new skills to sort of fit the changing market, everybody's got to learn, a new app or a new program or whatever. They're probably sitting at a desk working away. How about artificial intelligence? Is that a good investment of energy? A new paper from Oxford University looks at the skill sets of freelance workers on a website where people can take jobs and they get paid based on basic supply and demand on this website. They looked at 50,000 job postings and the skills that were correlated with more valuable jobs. And what they found is if you're looking to build a new skill, if you're building a skill that pushes you into that AI space, your average billing as a freelancer is going to go up 21%. And for some people, it goes up 40%. So if you could spend time learning how to retouch photos, that's a very specific skill that may not increase your value very much. But if you can spend time learning how to use AI to retouch photos and then apply those AI skills to other kinds of tasks, you put yourself in a much better position to be more marketable in the future as a freelancer. So just a little bit of job advice from the scientific world.
Yeah, time to get started on becoming a puppet master of the AI.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, CTV science and tech expert Dan Riskin, always appreciate our chats. Have a great week. We'll chat with you next week. Today is Halloween, and if you're looking for more than tricks and treats today, well, we can certainly help you out.
Yeah, we got the trick side of the equation covered right here. Joining us now for a few tricks is comedian and magician Chris Mayhew. Chris, good to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Devilish magician this morning. So what have you got for us? What tricks are you going to do to put the tricks in trick or treat?
A really fun card trick for everybody.
Nice. I love a good
Is
card
that a
trick.
standard deck?
So this is actually, it's a regular deck of cards, but I actually made this myself.
What?
So,
Get out.
I designed it and kickstarted it last year.
Oh, nice.
And it got funded, and so now it actually exists.
Congratulations.
So, totally.
That's pretty nice.
But yeah, they are a regular deck of cards. You can check them out if you would like.
Yeah,
Make sure
let's inspect.
no like computer chips. It's all they're all different cards. They're not all the same.
Hey, all right, that's
Very
good. I'm
important.
Can I
satisfied.
shuffle
Jen, you
them?
satisfied?
Yeah, you can shuffle them.
Okay,
You can
okay.
shuffle them.
This is my.
So how long have you been performing magic, Chris?
I've been honing myself with a deck of cards for like over 20 years,
Wow.
which is pretty wild to think about.
That is, no kidding. Yeah.
And what inspired you to go into card tricks and magic?
I feel like every kid is kind of like interested in it when they're younger. For me, it was pretty inevitable. There's like a magic shop that opened up down the street from my parents' place
Okay.
when I was in like grade school.
Meant to be.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? What's the plan here?
What's the trick?
So this is pretty fun. I'm gonna have you have
Jen,
me
you go ahead.
take the
Hold a
marker,
Sharpie.
okay? And of course, like any card trick, we'll have you pick any card you would like. Yeah, go ahead. So let's take a look. Now, it doesn't matter if I see it. It's not one of those tricks.
Oh,
so
okay,
I can actually take a look at it.
Well,
And I'm gonna have you actually sign your name, initials, whatever you want.
Really?
Across the
But I'm
face.
ruining your deck.
I know. I got like
you
a
got a
lifetime
lot?
supply.
I feel like he's a magician.
Okay.
Couple.
Sign my name on it.
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah.
Okay.
Anything you would like, just so that we
Actually, I'm
recognize
gonna-
that it's
I'm gonna
yours.
do some bubble letters for my
Oh,
son
cool.
Michael, who loves graffiti.
Perfect.
That's for you, baby Mike, if you're
Show
watching.
it to
love
camera
it.
4 there.
Okay.
Okay, this one.
Right there.
Everybody can see it. All right. And leave that marker uncapped because we're going to try
uncapped.
something
Okay.
here. So, again, this is one of the tricks where I'm going to lose the card and find it because obviously I know what your card is.
Yeah.
It's the 3 of diamonds, okay?
Yeah.
We will place it somewhere around the center, but I know where it is, all right? So if I were to try to find it, it's not very impressive.
Not really.
So I'm going to use another card to hopefully help me figure it out. So in this case, we'll use the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
All right.
To sign that?
But actually, you signed the card on the face. So I'm going to have you do something different. On the back of the card, I want you to just draw something like Halloween themed. So maybe like a ghost or a pumpkin, whatever you would like. But you can draw like a picture there. Yeah, a ghost. I like it.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So this guy, his name is, I guess we'll call him Reginald.
Reginald.
Right?
Reginald.
Yeah,
Very
Reggie
formal.
for short.
Yeah.
All right. But right now you can see he's on the queen.
Yeah.
But this is kind of interesting. If you just watch the queen, you just do this.
Whoa! Stop it!
Yeah, and you can get it to jump, right, from another card. But hopefully not just any card. This should hopefully be, you remember?
3 of diamonds.
3 of diamonds.
Come on.
And so it should be Ace of Hearts.
Oh.
Okay.
What? Did that just fail?
Yeah, to be honest,
This is
to be
part of the shtick.
honest,
This is
the
part of the
ghost,
shtick.
he just came into existence, right? So he's
Okay.
pretty new. So maybe
Okay.
we'll give him another chance, right? So
Okay.
right now he's on the ace, but look, if you just rub him off, you can get him onto another card, all right? And you have him on I don't know, what's this
What's
one?
that
It's gotta be 3
Let's
diamonds.
see.
This one should be Jack of Hearts. Okay, Jack of Hearts.
yeah,
all
we're
right,
getting there.
we can do it, all right? So check it out. I think I need your help.
Okay.
Okay.
How can we help?
So if you just watch the Jack of Hearts, or hold your hand like this, I'm gonna actually take Reginald, okay?
Okay.
We're gonna take him right off the
Whoa,
card.
whoa.
We're gonna put him to your hand. You can hold your card just like this.
Hold
yeah,
it?
squeeze. Yeah, squeeze. Not too tight though.
Oh, okay. Oh,
You're
okay.
squishing his face.
Oh,
You're
okay.
squishing his face. To be honest, it doesn't matter because he's a ghost.
ghost.
Can't really hear
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
All right. But I'm gonna go like this. I'm just gonna drop the cards like so. And you're gonna throw Reggie into the air. He's gonna do a couple somersaults.
Okay.
He's gonna land into the pack on your card. Okay. So here we
Okay,
go on the count
let's
of 3.
see.
Go ahead. Sorry, and go. Throw him. Okay. You gotta aim just a little bit.
Sorry, okay,
all right.
okay, sorry, yeah.
We'll try one
Yeah,
more
try
time.
that
I'll
again.
go a little closer. All right.
Okay, all right.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay.
Wow.
Did I get it?
To be honest, that's pretty good. That was pretty
that
good.
one
Try it, I
worked.
tried.
So look, if this worked, we should be able to get him off of that card, and hopefully, come on, where are you, Reggie?
Come on, Reggie.
Come on, Reggie.
Reggie.
Got him on what? There we go. Okay, there's
I
Reggie.
recognize that.
He's on one back of card, but hopefully he found
That's
3 of diamonds.
Chris.
There you go.
All right.
That Okay, you impressed me.
Oh, thank you
That's really
so
good,
much.
Chris.
Chris Mayhew. Okay, that is unreal.
Yeah, very
Thank
Chris.
you
That's
so much,
magical,
Chris.
Chris.
Happy
Yeah,
Halloween.
Appreciate
Totally.
that. Great to
You
meet you.
certainly
Thanks for
brought
the
the
trip.
joy.
Honestly, if you want to see more magic,
Yeah?
I perform weekly at a hidden speakeasy bar in downtown. It's called Coffee Oyster Champagne.
Right on,
So
okay.
you can
Nice.
check me out there.
Get your mind blown there. Okay,
yeah.
Chris
Yeah.
Mayhew,
Thank
thanks
you
for
so
joining
much.
us. Actor and comedian Rick Mercer is back with the second part of his memoir, The Road Years, a memoir continued. The first, of course, was a bestseller, an award-winning Talking to Canadians, a memoir. So welcome back to CP24 Breakfast. Rick Mercer, good to see you here. I really enjoyed reading this book over the last couple of days. You know, laughing out loud on the couch. My wife said, is it really that
great.
funny? I said, it really is that funny because you take the readers behind the scenes of course, the famous Rick Mercer Report show.
Sure.
You take us behind the scenes and give us some anecdotes of things that happened that don't end up, in the show in that 22-minute period there. What was your favorite one to share? Was it the bee beard? Was it the car? I mean, you did so many wild things.
There was a lot of different types of pieces we did. The bee beard, wearing, where they put a queen bee on your neck
Yeah.
and then release thousands and thousands of bees and they all attach themselves to your face. That would fall under the category of host in peril.
And there were two queens eventually.
Well, they added a second queen just to speed things up.
Whoa.
So we call that host in peril, and that would also mean me putting me in a demolition derby or dangling me off a building or throwing me out of a plane. There was that kind of segment.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of stories there because there were many moments where I was deeply uncomfortable or I thought I was literally going to die.
Yeah.
And then there are the segments where I'm talking to quote unquote famous or great Canadians, living prime ministers, the members of Rush, Jan Arden, whoever, and then there's like the fishermen and the farmers and the oil sands workers and all of those folks.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different stuff going on, lots of different balls in the air. The show was always like that, and it's great to go behind the scenes and great to look back at them.
I've got to be honest with you, Rick. I really, as much as I was laughing, I felt a little bit of envy, and I don't like to be envious, but your opportunity to go across the country, and like you said, you were sort of reflecting Canada back to Canadians, really, weren't you, right? Because, of all the festivals that you could have chosen from, you just kind of went to different unique festivals because they happen everywhere.
Sure.
But you just found the great stories there, and I think that, what an opportunity. Did you ever, when you were writing the book or even doing the show, was that sort of in your mind, I am the
and
luckiest guy?
I'm not a super reflective guy, but when you're doing a project like this, I took drum lessons in grades 7 and 8 so I could play the drums like Neil Peart in Rush. And flash forward a couple of decades later, I'm getting a drum lesson from Neil Peart on the show, and he's behind the Rush drum kit that turns around and has, pyro
the
built in.
pyrotechnics at the end and everything, yeah.
He was a notoriously quiet, reserved person who didn't do a lot of interviews, and he granted me the privilege of interviewing him. And so I read that, or I'm writing it, I literally have to go out and walk around the block and go, really, that happened?
Yeah.
How lucky am I that happened? So there was always great opportunity, and even on a week where something was happening that I wasn't that keen on, like being tasered.
Yeah. Which never made it to air, of course.
Never made it to air. But even those weeks, I still loved my job.
Yeah.
Even when I was being tasered.
And you also discussed, interviewing various living prime ministers, of course, Chrétien, Martin, Harper. You didn't really officially interview Justin Trudeau on your show.
No.
But he did pull you into a bush at a party once.
He did. The first time I met him, literally, it was a backyard, big, fancy fundraiser.
It was in Cabbagetown, wasn't it?
It was in Rosedale.
Oh, Rosedale,
and I
pardon me.
was new to television in Toronto, and I got invited to this thing, and I didn't know what it was about. And then I heard psst, 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 and there was like Justin Trudeau. Hey, come here. And then he said, "How are you?"
That's right.
And I got totally freaked out. Like, I don't like that kind of thing.
A little too
How
close.
are you feeling?
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
And he kind of revealed that night that he was thinking of becoming prime minister, and he was a private citizen at the time.
right.
He was just a dude.
A pretty famous dude.
He was famous for being famous.
Yeah.
And I walked away thinking, he thinks he's going to be prime minister? And he's that weird? Never going to happen. And of course, he became prime minister.
Yeah.
But I never had him on the show in his capacity as prime minister, because by the time that came along, I just wasn't interested in doing that kind of segment anymore.
I found it really interesting, the contrast of from Chrétien to Martin to Harper, the different styles of the communication style side of it, and also
Sure.
just the personalities that you were able to kind of bring out and effectively draw out of each of the different prime ministers. I mean, having Stephen Harper read you a bedtime story at 24 Sussex.
Yeah, that was one of the most surprising things, that he agreed to it, that because they were notoriously prickly when it came to any media.
Yeah.
And they made it very clear for the first year he was in office, they had no interest in playing with us in any capacity, even though in opposition they were up for it. And then they just decided that they would go along with this notion that I would have a sleepover at 24 Sussex Drive. And the basis of the joke was he would be nice to me, and everyone would get it because he wasn't very nice to the media. And it was interesting to watch. He was pretty relaxed, and he actually had a sense of humor, which I was surprised about.
Yeah.
But the young people around him, they were like child soldiers. They were
They were wound tight.
they were wound tight, and they were feral, and they were they were something else to deal with.
Well, yeah, there's
in
all
contrast to Paul Martin's people that were like lying on the couch and
Right, yeah.
walking bare foot in the grass
Yeah,
out in
the
the
contrast
backyard
is
and stuff.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Rick Mercer, The Road Years, it's on store shelves as of today. Thanks so much for joining us on CP24 Breakfast. Nice to meet you and chat. Appreciate
Thank you.
this. Good luck with the book. All right, November 2nd is Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos. Although the celebration originated in Mexico, the day to honor those who have passed has spread around the world.
And 2023 marks the 15th year that the Toronto Dia de los Muertos Collective and Casa Maiz, or Maize, has partnered up for a multi-day event. From October 28th to November the 5th, the organizations are gathering with Torontonians of all cultural backgrounds to honor deeply rooted traditions, celebrate life, and remember those who have passed into the realm beyond. So joining us live now to talk about Day of the Dead are Luis Rojas and Jesus Mora. Luis, thank you so much for joining us. I want to start by asking you about the history of the Day of the Dead for people who aren't familiar.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Well, it's a very complex, it's really diverse, and it's, let's say, you can follow the indigenous cosmogony, but also you can have the religious. So there is a certain syncretism, and also it depends on the context. Like, for example, here in Toronto, we have been adapting to different ways with certain elements that we have here, right? So I would say it's kind of challenge. It's a big challenge to summarize in such a short time
right.
the complexity of the celebration itself, right? As I said, there's a lot of elements from the pre-Hispanic, the ancestry. I would say the most important thing is to understand that Day of the Dead celebration is a celebration about life, no death, right? So that's important,
Okay.
or understanding death as a part of life.
Right, and also paying tribute to ancestors who have passed and lived before us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So let's talk about the altar here and some of the special elements to this here. What goes into this, and what are you sort of bringing back or sort of honoring here?
Yeah, well, thanks for inviting us. We are here also to share how we do it in Mexico. We say the Day of the Dead is not just Mexican, it's universal, so every culture celebrates in some way.
Yeah.
But basically what we have, and we invite you, everybody, to do it at your home, is bring a picture of your beloved one. And then we use marigold, which is the cempasúchil flower, is the flower of dead. And we bring things that the people you are honoring used to like food, tamal, especially something that you make with your hands is better, but you can put fruit. The dog is also a part representative. And then water, we put salt and chocolate. I was basically thinking in the person that I'm inviting that time to come and visit, because you can also have that connection and start talking to your beloved ones, right?
Yeah.
And obviously candles, is to help that person, that spirit, to really in his transition or her transition, to the spirit world.
Cross into the spirit world.
Yeah, so if you don't have a papel picado, doesn't matter, just decorate it with your own culture. This is, for example, a shawl that my grandfather is here in the picture.
Oh, wow.
So he was from Michoacan, so I put, something representative. So everything is thinking. You have a conversation with the person you are, or people, because could be multiply, alter. And you just use a small corner in your home.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. I noticed that you're bringing a lot of personal items, but also things, for example, like this and the salt, like elements of the earth as well into the altar. And talk about some of the events happening around the city of Toronto that Torontonians can join in today if they want to do more than perhaps set up their own version of an altar.
Sure, we had already the past Saturday, the main celebration that we call. It's like 7 hours of the several activities, like because Day of the Dead you can celebrate in different ways with different disciplines: theater, dance, poetry, music. Because it's very common to understand, like, oh, it's just a fiesta, mariachi, tequila, and we have that stuff, but it's really important to understand that the complexity of the celebration, and it's more. It's not at all Cinco de Mayo, nothing to do with it. It's clarifying that. It's more about how can we understand as I said before, the death as a part of life, and how there is room for mourning, for healing process, for sadness. Of course it is, but it's also celebrating that we are alive. And so the events in the city, well, it became trendy. That's what's a little bit risky to us. Like try to promote in the most accurate way possible. I mean, there is not a through, like this is the way you should celebrate Day of the Dead, but at least you understand where it came from, right? The essence.
And Luisa, we're running a little tight on time, but I really want to get to this, this incredible traditional Day of the Dead makeup outfit. I mean, can you talk about this, Jesus, Luis? This is just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, well, it's a very traditional and popular character, La Catrina. So, of course, it's something that became really popular, let's say. In the middle, here's another mask this side, for example. This is from Afro-Mexican communities in La Costa Chica, Guerrero, and Oaxaca. So there is a lot of characters. But let's say Catrina is one of the most popular. And it has a beautiful story behind and very powerful social and political speaking, But it's... it would be hard to explain all the things where it came from. The artist from Aguascalientes was mocking the fancy people, they say, back then. Right?
Interesting.
And it's very complex, the story behind the La Catrina. Now became trendy. The same with the sugar skull. There is a lot of elements during the celebration. And it depends also the context. Where are you from? Which region? If you're from the south, from the north. We were planning to bring another character from La Huasteca. It's too complex. And it's kind of frustrating. I would love to share more.
No,
it's really been amazing, though, to sort of get you to sort of at least introduce us to this and get a bit of an understanding of this. This is a beautiful tribute, Day of the Dead, but, to the living as well, right? It's amazing,
And to say to people, hey, if you think Day of the Dead is about, like you mentioned, Cinco de Mayo, no, you're wrong, at least you're getting people on the right path to understanding more about the rich cultural history. So, thank you so much for joining us this morning to talk about it. And I hope that Torontonians learned a little something and can partake today.
This is great. Thanks so much. Appreciate this. Great to meet you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. This is just absolutely spectacular.
Okay, the much-anticipated film Priscilla, the biopic on the life of Priscilla Presley, is out in theaters now. It was written and co-directed, or directed and produced by Sofia Coppola, and the movie shares a different side of the king. Now, Elvis also had a soft spot for animals and pets, partly leading to gifting Priscilla Honey, the dog, after returning from Germany. So joining us live now in the studio is the dog, Chewy, who played Honey in the film, and trainer Melissa Millett. Thank you both so much for being with us this morning. I cannot believe how cute Chewy is.
Isn't he?
He's adorable. I wish our audience members can just feel how soft and sweet he is. Melissa, thanks for joining us. So what was it like, because Chewy isn't your dog, but you represent him and you train him. What was it like being on set of this massive Hollywood film, having Chewy star as the beloved Priscilla's pet?
It was such an incredible experience. I have so much respect for Sofia Coppola, watching her work and listening to the direction that she was giving the actors. And Chewy, he was so amazing for the role. This film, I'm definitely the demographic. I loved reading this script. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and you have a very interesting story yourself, because you started your training company for dogs in Dogs We Trust, and then it was kind of through a trick that spawned into your new company, or newer company, Ultimuts play on the word mutts. So talk about how that all happened and how you've kind of become like the Hollywood trainer of dogs now.
Yeah, that's really interesting is that I just started because I wanted a really great dog training school, and I started teaching really cool tricks, and I was discovered into film actually through cat training.
Oh, wow.
And now I work on big productions and, you know, as a trainer and now as an agent for dogs in film. And we actually found Chewy at my school.
Oh, my goodness.
And he was so talented and confident that we knew he has everything that an actor would need, the confidence, the looks.
Wow. Yeah, and talk about like what kind of tricks or things that you had to kind of train Chewy to do on set for this film in particular.
So Chewy was actually a puppy when we did this role. He had a lot of confidence. Most of the time, he had to be adorable and tucked under under Priscilla's arm. So what I did is I worked on camera applications. We recreated all the scenes because it's really important to me that the dogs are confident. So during prep, we showed Chewy what a camera coming at him would look like, the boom coming in, and we recreated every single scene so that there was no surprises and that he would have just as much fun as everyone else on the set. We also work on stay for animal actors. It's really important that they stay in the shot.
Yeah, okay, so Melissa, right now, let's focus more on Chewy. He's gonna be doing a few tricks for us in the studio. Okay, Chewy, here's your big second moment to shine on our show. Take it away, Melissa.
All right, so we're gonna show you how we taught a stay. How we teach a stay is first, we're going to establish where reinforcement comes. Can I put Chewy on the ground?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to use this bed as a place to stay. So when we're practicing stay at home, first thing you're going to do is you're going to teach him, this is where you get paid. This is where you get paid. And then when we release him from the bed, break. There we go. He does not get paid outside the bed. Don't run away, though. So we don't pay.
Oh, wow.
Take a moment for him to understand. Then we bring him back into his bed, and we teach him this is where you get paid.
Aww.
Once he understands where he gets paid, we're going to start to add a cue to stay, move away, and we only pay in position. Move away, and then we release. We wait. He's got it. Nice job. When we release, we always return to the dog to release.
Yeah.
A lot of people do stay and come, and we reward when the dog comes to us. We only want to reward for position.
Yeah, and Melissa, before we let you go, you know, for many people who say, oh, you know, training dogs to be in movies or to do tricks is kind of unfair or cruel to the animals, what's your response to that?
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Dogs were born to work alongside man for 12,000 years. They want to have a job and purpose. My little guys that do the live show like film more because they're like, live show, I get 5 minutes in film. I get treats all day.
Oh my gosh.
I get paid all day and I get all the attention.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And of course, you were hanging out with Jacob Elordi's dog offset as well. So lots of animal lovers in this movie. Listen, Melissa, Millet, and Chewy, we can't wait to see the work that you've done in the film Priscilla out in theaters today. It was such a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
And good luck with everything.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming in.